Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to learn about the estimation of enzyme activity of amylase. In this video we are specifically going to learn about how we can estimate the activity of amylase enzyme being produced by bacterial cells. However, the same method can be applied to the estimation of amylase activity of the enzyme obtained from any other source as well. A brief introduction about amylase. Amylase is an enzyme which works on the molecules of starch. So starch are polysaccharides which are present in many plants, and they are actually source of nutrition, that is the source of carbohydrates for many animals and microorganisms as well. Now these starch molecules are complex polysaccharides which are acted upon by amylase enzyme and broken down into smaller fragments which are called as dextrins. Dextrins are again acted upon by the amylase enzyme and they are broken down into even smaller pieces which are called as maltose. Maltose is a disaccharide made up of two glucose units held together by glycosidic bonds. Now these maltose is again acted upon by amylase enzyme and finally we get the monosaccharide units, that is the glucose molecules. Amylase enzyme is produced by a huge variety of organisms including bacteria, fungi, plants and animals. Here we are going to learn about the production of amylase enzyme by Bacillus subtilis bacterial cells and then estimation of the activity of enzyme produced by these cells. So it is very simple to make Bacillus subtilis cells to produce amylase. We have to start with the Bacillus subtilis culture in M9 media where the carbohydrate source should be only starch. So in the M9 media we add 2% of starch solution which acts as the only carbon source. Now since starch is the only carbon source for these microorganisms, they produce a lot of amylase to break down that starch into dextrins, maltose and finally into glucose, which is taken up these microorganisms for the production of energy. Now how can we measure the amylase activity? So measurement of amylase activity is based on 3,5-dinitrosalicylic acid method, which is also called as the DNSA method. Actually, this DNSA is used to estimate the amount of reducing sugars. As we have already seen that the amylase enzyme acts on starch molecules to finally give us the reducing sugars. So if we are able to measure the concentration of reducing sugars produced by the action of amylase on starch, we are in fact measuring the amylase activity. Now what is the principle behind this DNSA method? The molecule 3,5-dinitrosalicylic acid, that is DNSA, it reacts with the reducing sugars under alkaline conditions and boiling temperatures and gets reduced to 3-amino-5-nitrosalicylic acid. Now this 3-amino-5-nitrosalicylic acid has a specific color which is reddish brown and it absorbs at 540 nanometer. This absorbance of light at 540 nanometer is concentration dependent. That is, higher the concentration of the reducing sugars, more will be the absorbance at 540 nanometer. And by using this method, we can measure the amylase activity in the terms of concentration of reducing sugar, which is the product of the reaction produced due to the action of the amylase on starch, which is the substrate for the reaction in a given period of time. To find out the enzyme activity of amylase, we first need to prepare a standard graph. In order to make that standard graph, we need to make standard solutions of glucose by using 0.01 molar glucose solution and distilled water. We are going to make dilutions which will range from 0.2 millimolar to 1.2 millimolar of glucose. After making these dilutions, now we are going to make the sample which contains the amylase. In this case, we are getting the amylase from the Bacillus subtilis cells. So as I have already told you, we grow the Bacillus subtilis cells in M9 media which contains 2% of starch solution for 5 to 6 days. After that, we collect those cells, we carry out centrifugation to pellet down all the cells, and we collect the supernatant. Now, since this amylase, which is produced by the Bacillus subtilis cells, is an extracellular enzyme, it is present in the media and not inside the cell. So, we can discard the cells and we can keep the supernatant for estimation of the amylase activity. For this, we will need the phosphate buffer to keep the enzyme active and intact, and we are going to add 1% starch solution. After adding 1% starch solution in phosphate buffer, we will add the bacterial supernatant into it. The exact volumes and concentrations are given in the table, which we'll see later in the later part of the video. Now, as a blank, we will add distilled water in a different tube which will have phosphate buffer, starch solution, but it will not have the bacterial supernatant. Instead of bacterial supernatant, it will have the distilled water. After this, we are going to carry out an incubation at 37 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. This is the time we are providing the enzyme present in the supernatant to act on the starch molecules and convert it into maltose and glucose, that is the reducing sugars. At the end of 10 minutes, we are going to stop the reaction by adding 2 normal NaOH. Under such alkaline conditions, the enzyme will get denatured and it will not be able to carry out its action. 2 normal NaOH will also be added in all the other tubes which contain different dilutions of glucose, because the DNSA requires an alkaline condition for it to react with the reducing sugars. After that, we add DNSA to all the tubes. You can see the color of the solutions in all the tubes. It is a bright orange color. And after addition of the DNSA, we keep all the tubes in boiling water bath for at least 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, you can see that in the case of blank, where there is no reducing sugar present, the color is still bright orange, whereas in a tube which contains the reducing sugar, in this case it is 1 millimolar of glucose solution, you can see the color has changed to reddish brown. Now, after getting this color, we are going to keep the tubes for cooling, because we cannot they will be very hot and it is not advisable to go for taking the absorbance with the hot solution. In the meantime, we can set our spectrophotometer at 540 nanometer, because this is the wavelength at which we will see maximum absorbance. We will be taking the blank, this tube, and we will be setting it for auto 0. We have to do all these things once the solution in the tubes has cooled down. Now, we can take different samples which are present in different tubes and keep on taking their absorbance and noting them down. After taking the absorbance of all the tubes, we will get this observation table which tells us about the absorbance of the different dilutions of glucose. So, you can see as the concentration of glucose increased, the absorbance at 540 nanometer also increased. Using those absorbance values, we have to plot a standard graph where concentration of glucose will be on x-axis and absorbance at 540 nanometer will be on the y-axis. You can see that we are getting a nice straight line which shows that the concentration of glucose and absorbance are directly proportional and they follow a linear curve. After plotting this standard graph, we can take the absorbance values of our sample which contain the supernatant from the bacterial culture to find out the amount of reducing sugar that has been released in the tubes in which we had added the supernatant from the bacterial culture. Now, if we look at these points, we had done this experiment in duplicates just to be sure of our results. So, in one case we got the absorbance at 0.632, in another case 0.644, which are quite close. So, if we go back to our graph and we see where 0.64 lies, we have to draw a line parallel to the x-axis and we have to see where it intercepts the standard graph, that is our straight line, and then we have to make a drop down on the x-axis. After doing this, I found that the concentration of the reducing sugar was 0.72 millimolar. Right? Now, in order to find out the activity of amylase, we have to consider other parameters also. What are these parameters? These parameters are for how long the incubation was carried out and what was the volume of the supernatant that was taken. Because if we increase the incubation time, the amount of reducing sugar which is being produced will be higher. Also, if we use more supernatant, it will have more enzyme and therefore more amount of sugar will be, starch will be reduced, right? So therefore we have to consider these parameters also. So the concentration of reducing sugar which we obtained by using the graph was 0.72. It was produced in 10 minutes and the volume of the supernatant that was taken was 0.5 ml. Now when we solve this, we get that the activity of amylase is 0.144 millimolar per minute per ml. I hope you could understand the method for estimating the enzyme activity of amylase.